Welcome to this Techcanvass tutorial. I am Pankaj Doshi, a senior product manager with over 14 years of experience across automotive, AI, and digital products. Today, we are going to build a product roadmap for SaaS platform step by step. By end of this video, you will have a framework that you can apply to your own product, whether you're a product owner, a product manager, or an aspiring one. Let's get into it.
Here's what we will cover today. First, roadmap fundamentals. What a roadmap actually is and how it differs from a backlog or a release plan. Second, the three common roadmap formats. Third, a 5-step process to build one from scratch. Fourth, we will apply that process to a real SaaS case study using RISE prioritization. Fifth, how to communicate the same roadmap to different audiences. And last, the common mistakes that turn a good roadmap into a broken promise. All right, let's get into it. Let us start with why this matters. Every SaaS product owner runs into the same problem. Sales promises features that were never planned just to close a deal. Engineering gets pulled in different directions every sprint because there is no shared sense of priority. Leadership cannot see how the backlog connects to the company goals. And customers do not know if the gaps they keep hitting will ever get fixed. A roadmap solves this. It is one of the artifacts that can align all four groups without locking you into dates you cannot keep. This is the goal we are working toward. Before we build the roadmap, we need to be clear on what a roadmap actually is. A lot of teams confuse it with a release plan or a backlog, and that confusion causes real problems. A roadmap answers why you're building something and in what order. It works in quarters, sometimes a year out. It is owned by the product owner or product manager, and the audiences, executives, sales, and customers. Whereas a release plan is more specific. It answers when something will ship, work in weeks, and is jointly owned by the PO and the delivery lead. A backlog is the more detailed layer. It answers what exactly needs to be built in the next sprint or two, and it belongs to the product owner and the Scrum team. So keep these three separate. Mixing them up is where most product roadmaps trouble starts. There are three common ways to structure a roadmap. Let us look at each one. First, now, next, later. These groups work into three horizons instead of fixed dates. It works well for fast-moving SaaS teams because it communicates direction without creating unnecessary commitments. Second, timeline or quarterly roadmaps. These map teams against specific quarters. They are easy for leadership and boards to understand, but there is a risk. Stakeholders may interpret the dates as firm delivery commitments. Third, outcome-based roadmaps. These are organized around the outcomes you want to achieve, such as reducing onboarding drop-off rather than simply listing features. This keeps the team focused on impact rather than output. For most SaaS teams, now, next, later is a good starting point because it provides clarity while keeping flexibility. And that is the format we will use in our case study today. To make this practical, we will apply the entire roadmap process to one example. Our example is task flow, a project management SaaS product serving small and medium businesses. Task flow is 18 months post-launch and the series stage with around 4,200 active teams using the product through combination of self-serve signups and inside sales. But task flow has a clear problem. Signups are strong, but activation is weak. Only 34% of new teams go on to complete their first project. At the same time, the enterprise prospects are asking for capabilities such as SSOs, permissions, and integrations before they are willing to sign a contract. So the team is facing a classic growth stage tension. Do we focus on improving activation for the existing customer base or build the enterprise capabilities to unlock the deals? This is exactly the kind of strategic trade off that a good roadmap should help resolve. The first step is to anchor the roadmap to the product vision and the business strategy before we start listing our features. From that vision, we define our North Star metric, which is the percentage of new teams that complete their first project within 7 days. Today, that number is 34%, and our target is to move to 60%. We also need to consider the broader company goal. This year, TaskFlow wants to land 15 mid-market accounts with 100 or more seats to reduce their reliance on self-serve SMB revenue. So every theme we put on the roadmap needs to connect back to either of these two strategic priorities, which is improving the activation or enabling mid-market growth. If a theme cannot be clearly connected to either, it probably does not belong to the roadmap. Step 2 is about gathering inputs from every relevant single source. If you build a roadmap based only on the loudest customer request, you risk creating a roadmap based on bias rather than evidence. For TaskFlow, we would look at 6 sources. First, product analytics to understand where the users are dropping off during onboarding. Second, sales and customer success notes to identify deals that were lost or delayed because of missing capabilities. Third, support tickets to uncover recurring customer pain points. Fourth, competitive analysis to understand where we may be missing table stake capabilities. Fifth, direct customer interviews, including 5 to 10 structured conversations with both active and churned customers. And finally, company strategy, which connects these inputs back to the vision and OKRs we defined earlier. The important point is that no single source tells the complete story. By triangulating all 6, we will get a much more reliable view of what the product should focus on. Step 3 is clustering everything you gathered into a small number of strategic themes. This step matters because raw feature requests do not mean anything to your leadership or engineering on their own. Themes give everyone a shared language. For TaskFlow, we land on 4 themes. Faster onboarding, which is tied to activation. Real-time collaboration, which is tied to retention. Enterprise readiness, which is tied to expansion into bigger accounts. And ecosystem and integrations, which is tied to stickiness. Every input from step 2 rolls up into one of these 4 buckets. This is also a good checkpoint to ask, does each theme trace back to the vision and the goals that we looked in step 1? If not, drop it or park it. Step 4 is prioritization. And this is where many roadmaps go wrong. Without a clear framework, prioritization often seems a negotiation driven by whoever is asking the loudest. RISE, which stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, and Effort, gives us a repeatable way to evaluate different opportunities. Reach tells us how many users the feature is expected to affect in a given period. Impact measures how significant the effect will be, typically on a scale from 1 for minimal to 3 for massive. Confidence reflects how certain we are about our estimate, which is expressed as a percentage, and effort represents how much work the feature will require, usually measured in person weeks. The formula is reach times impact times confidence and the result divided by the effort. Let us apply this to 4 task flow features that we just discussed. The guided onboarding wizard reaches 3000 users, has an impact of 3, 80% confidence, and requires 4 weeks of effort. That gives us a RISE score of 1800, which is the highest of the 4. Slack integration scores 1050, while roles and permissions score 288. SSO reaches only 300 users. Even with high confidence, it scores just 180. Did you notice what happened here? SSO may be the loudest request, particularly from an important enterprise prospect, but it does not automatically become the highest priority. This is the value of framework like RISE. It does not make the decision for you, but it makes the trade-off visible and prevents the loudest voice from automatically winning. Step 5 is about turning those priorities into an actual roadmap. RISE helps us prioritize opportunities within a team, but it does not decide the overall strategy. That decision still comes back to the product vision, the company goals, and the outcomes we want to drive. For task flow, onboarding wins the now slot because it has the strongest potential to move our North Star metric, which is getting new teams to their first completed project within 7 days. So the now bucket includes the guided onboarding wizard, project templates, and Slack integration. The next bucket includes roles and permissions, real-time collaboration, and Google Workspace integration. And the later bucket includes SSO, audit logs, and Zapier Plus API access. Notice that SSO, despite being an important enterprise request, sits in later. This is a deliberate decision and not an oversight. We can defend it by showing how it compares on RISE and how it aligns with our current strategic priorities and North Star metric. This is what a good roadmap should do. It should make the trade-offs visible and decisions defensible. Once the roadmap is created, the next challenge is communicating it appropriately to different audiences. The roadmap should not look the same for everyone. The level of details and the language you use should depend on who is looking at it. For executives and the board, show themes tied directly to company goals and business impact. Avoid feature-level details and hard dates. Say, improve activation rather than build wizard version 2. For engineering and design, you can go one level deeper. Break the themes into candidate epics, show relative sequencing, and highlight key dependencies. This gives the team enough context to start discovery without turning the roadmap into detailed specification. For customer and sales, keep it simple. Use now, next, later framework and explain the direction clearly, and make it explicit that priorities can change. And most importantly, do not put firm delivery dates on roadmap that the customer or prospects can see. This one habit can prevent many of the broken promises and expectation problems that roadmaps often create. Let us close by looking at the 4 mistakes that often turn a roadmap into a broken promise. First, putting fixed dates on every item. This locks the team into estimates that were often made before the discovery has even happened. As we learn more, those dates become more difficult to defend. Second, creating a feature list instead of outcome-based roadmap. When the roadmap only shows features, stakeholders lose the context. They can see what we are building, but why we are building it or what outcome can we expect is not clear. Third, building the roadmap once and never revisiting it. Markets change, customers need change, and new data comes in. A roadmap that is frozen for a year can quickly become irrelevant. Fourth, leaving no room for unplanned. If every team capacity is already committed, an urgent production issue, security problem, or critical customer opportunity can disrupt the entire plan. So the key takeaway is simple. A roadmap should create alignment, not false certainty. Avoiding these four habits is what helps turn a roadmap into something that the people can trust and can actually use. Let's recap quickly the 5 steps we covered. Step 1. Anchor the roadmap to vision, North Star metric, and company goals. Step 2. Gather inputs from multiple sources, including product analytics, sales, support, and customer interview. Step 3. Cluster those inputs into 3 to 5 strategic themes. Step 4. Prioritize those themes using RISE or another framework that fits your context. Step 5. Sequence the priorities into now, next, later, and tailor the level of detail based on the audience. And one final point worth repeating. A roadmap is a living document. Markets change, customer needs evolve, and new data becomes available. Revisit the roadmap regularly, ideally every quarter, and adjust it with the evidence that tells you to do. That brings us end to our walkthrough on building the product roadmap for a SaaS platform, from defining the vision all the way to creating a roadmap that the stakeholders can understand and trust. If you want to practice these concepts hands-on, Techcanvass offers live product owner and product manager training cohorts, certification preparation for CBAP, product owner, and product manager, as well as one-to-one career mentoring. You can find us at techcanvass.com or reach us using the number shown on the screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.